Hi, this is Donna Taggert, the dietitian for Department of Aging and Human Services. This month I'm going to be talking to you about supplements. It's a big industry, 90,000 products, about $60 billion a year. And by definition, a supplement is a product that's intended to supplement the diet with one or more dietary ingredients. It's not meant to treat, prevent, or cure diseases. It includes vitamins and minerals, herbals, amino acids, live microbials. But the most important thing is it must be swallowed, so it can't be a topical or injectable to be a supplement. Now, one of the big myths is that supplements are safe. Well, they're not regulated by the FDA for safety or effectiveness. In fact, they're not even really looked at by the FDA until post-market, when there might be an adverse reaction or something that comes up. So we'll talk more about third-party testing for safety, but I'll mention that later. But that's the extent of the FDA. They just look at it post-market. Herbals are considered safe because what? There are plants growing out there, they're herbs, but many of them have effects that range based on their dose, their form, even when they're harvested. Are they harvested in the morning, in the evening, can affect the dosage, and they can really interact with prescription meds. So not necessarily considered safe as we think of it. But anyway, will supplements be helpful for seniors? Do we need them? Do we need a multivitamin? A lot of people say, I take a multivitamin for insurances. Well, the evidence shows that if you're eating a healthy diet, you absolutely do not need a multivitamin. There also shows evidence that the people who take multivitamins are the ones that are actually eating well already. So that being said, there are studies that show Americans have serious shortfalls in calcium, in vitamin D, in potassium, and in fiber. So do we need a supplement because of those shortfalls? Well, it just depends, again, on our diet. But if you're going to do a multivitamin, you want to choose it based on your age, based on your gender, and know that multivitamins don't always cover everything. For instance, calcium. If you've ever seen a calcium supplement, there's no way you're going to fit the amount of calcium you need in a little multivitamin. You'd be like really choking on it. So talking about calcium, it's a challenge. We need about 1,200 milligrams a day. That's a significant amount as we are seniors. If you're not a big dairy consumer, it might be difficult to get that much. Even drinking milk, 1 cup of milk is only about 300, maybe 450 milligrams, depending on the milk. And again, it's a long way from the 1,200 that you need. So if you take a calcium supplement, you definitely would want to separate if you're taking like more than 600 milligrams at a time, separate it out so you can absorb it better. Vitamin D, a lot of people are low in vitamin D. If you've had your vitamin D levels checked by the doctor, they say, well, you need to get vitamin D. Main way we get it, sun hitting our skin. Obviously in the winter it's tough. Even in the summer if you got a lot of sunscreen on. An interesting fact was back in the industrial age when people were moving in from the farmlands to the city, kids were developing a vitamin deficiency called rickets. Their legs were bowing and they're like, oh, we need to give them vitamin D. What do kids have in common? Milk was decided was a common beverage, so that's why to this day milk is fortified with vitamin D, because it was meant to get rid of rickets. Now as a senior, we need vitamin D. We need 800 IUs a day. And most of us, again, struggle with getting it. Not many foods contain it. So you want to be careful if you're taking a vitamin D supplement. It is a fat-soluble vitamin. That means it can be stored in our body. It can become toxic if you're overdoing it. It can affect your kidneys, cause kidney stones, maybe affect your blood vessels, your heart. So you want to be careful. The Endocrine Society does recommend supplements for vitamin D supplements for people over 75. But upper limit of safety, 4,000 IUs per day. So be careful, don't overdo vitamin D. The potassium, studies show you're much better getting it from the food than from a supplement. The benefits are much, much better. Where's potassium? Fruits and vegetables. Why are we low in potassium? Because the average American only eats 1 serving of fruit and vegetable a day when the recommended amount is 9 to 11. So you can see where potassium is really important to get those fruits and vegetables, especially tomatoes, potatoes, citrus, bananas, all have a lot of potassium. B12. If you're a vegan, you definitely need B12 because it's only in animal products. But as we age, there's a thing in our stomach called extrinsic factor. It helps absorb the vitamin B12. It doesn't work as good when we age. It also is affected by PPIs, protein pump inhibitors like Prilosec. If you're on metformin for diabetes, it can interfere the absorption of B12. In that case, you just might need a shot of it, but it's important to get that evaluated. Collagen. We don't make it as well when we get older. It's really hard to get it from food. There's not a lot of collagen in food. So that is a supplement that you want to maybe consider. It comes in powdered form. You can mix it in your coffee. It comes in gummies and, chewable type things. You can swallow them, or a collagen bar. But whatever way you do it, you're probably going to need it. You need about 10 grams of collagen per day for bone health, because collagen is just like that glue that holds our bones and our joints and our, everything together. So collagen is crucial for our bone health. Make sure there's lots of types of collagen. Most of the supplements will have a lot of different types in it, a mixture, but make sure it has type 2 because that's the one that's good for your bones. If you're not eating a lot of fatty fishes, 2-3 times a week, you might need to consider a fish oil supplement. They have the omega-3 fatty acids in them that helps with our heart, with our brain. So again, not a fish eater, probably that's something, because really it's hard to get enough omega-3s from plant sources. It's really difficult. So if you don't like fish, consider the fish oil supplements. Now there are so many supplements out there. I'm not going to talk to you about all of them, but a few other ones are green powders. They're not going to hurt you, but you're much better off spending that money that you put out for the green powders on the fruits and vegetables, because then you're going to get the fiber and things that you've lost when they pulverize it into a powder form. Magnesium is a big social media presence lately. Half of all Americans don't get enough. It's supposed to help with energy, your mood, your sleep. Inconclusive results with all those studies, but it is important to get it food-wise. Fortified cereals, milk, yogurt, leafy greens, nuts, seeds all contain magnesium. And again, getting it through the food is a better way than in a supplement. A lot of people need, seniors, we need much more protein than we did when we were younger. If you go back to some of the older YouTube presentations, I did one on protein. You can actually figure out how much you need, but you want to make sure you're getting enough, but not too much. Too much protein can be bad too, because it can put stress on your kidneys. It can, if you're not using it for protein, it's going to change it and convert it to sugar for energy, or then store it as fat. So you might as well not overdo it with the protein. But here's the thing, a lot of people use protein powders. Easy. Throw it in a smoothie, boom, you got enough protein that you need for the meal. But many of them lately have been found to be contaminated with toxic metals and heavy metals and different toxins. So you want to go on cleanlabelproject.org, and we'll post that for you. This is where you can look up your protein powder and make sure it is safe to use, because you certainly want to get the protein, but you don't want to, get other heavy toxins and metals that you don't need. So basically, supplements, they're not magical. They can't make up for poor eating habits. So we need to be eating those whole foods. There's something about that package deal of all those nutrients together, and they include the fiber and antioxidants and phytochemicals that all work together. And again, you run the risk of contamination with the supplements, and by isolating the particular supplements out, you're not getting the whole gist of how they should work together. But you can go to WebMD to check on different vitamins, their uses, their side effects, precautions, and interactions. There's NIH has Office of Dietary Supplements, and I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. We were going to post a PDF of something that you can do more research for. First off, though, talk to your healthcare provider. It's important that they know if you're taking a supplement, if you're thinking of taking a supplement, because many supplements, like I said, can interact with other medications. It can interfere with your lab results and maybe skew those results. So you want to make sure they know you're on certain ones, and talk to them. What are the benefits? What are the risks? And you yourself can do some deep dive into it, and I'll give you some information about that in a minute. Watch out. A lot of them are hyped if you're following them on social media. If it sounds too good to be true, the old adage is, it's probably too good to be true. Evaluate your diet first. See, where are you falling short? Are you getting enough fruits and vegetables? Are your grains whole grains? Are you getting fatty fishes? Are you getting dairy? Are you eating a handful of nuts and seeds? Are you eating legumes every so often? If you're falling short in some of these areas, is there any way you can change your eating habits first? But if not, then maybe a supplement might be appropriate. So again, going on to the NIH Dietary Office of Dietary Supplements. There's going to be a whole PDF available for you all about supplements, and it will tell you just about everything you want to know. They have fact sheets on all the supplements. So if you're on some obscure supplement I haven't even talked about, nor I probably don't even know anything about, you can go on there and you can type it in and you can see, what's the information out there. Are there precautions? Are there any adverse reactions that have been posted? So you can check into all that. You can also look on that website for specific supplements for specific things like brain health. They'll list all the supplements, or diabetes, all those supplements. If you do decide you're going to do a supplement, so how do you know which one? If you can contact the manufacturer, go on their website. They hopefully have some things on there that back up their claims. They hopefully will post if there's any adverse reactions. Are they getting their supplements third-party tested? So that's what I wanted to talk about. And there's a whole list at the very end of this about the different third parties that test for. They check to see that it's properly manufactured. They check to make sure the ingredients that are on the label are in the supplement. That has been shown that sometimes it'll say something that's not even in there. So again, there's not that regulation. And do they have any harmful levels of contamination? Consumerlabs.com, and then there's a U.S. Pharmacopoeia, USP seal, all will guarantee that those supplements have been evaluated. But they don't guarantee that the product is effective. Now, what about the federal regulations? How are they even involved if they're not really regulating it? Basically, they want the supplement companies to be responsible. It says they want them to have evidence that their products are safe and that their claims are truthful. But as long as there's no new dietary ingredient that the FDA knows nothing about, as long as there's nothing new, they can go ahead and put it out on market without the FDA being, shown any evidence and all. So that's why it's really important for us to research things. Health claims have to always be posted. You've probably heard this one. The statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. They'll always have to have that statement on. But the FDA does come in, monitor the marketplace for, iffy, questionable, illegal products that may be out there. So again, that's something to keep abreast of. And by going to these websites, you'll be able to know more about whatever one you're on. So basically, as a dietitian, food first. Let food you be your medicine. Hippocrates said way back ancient times. We really need to get our nutrient from the food we're eating. So evaluate your diet. Make sure it can be balanced, but it really should be heavily weighted to all the good stuff and very little of the processed foods that are really devoid of nutrition. I would probably recommend a collagen supplement as we are older, because we're not making it as well. Probably vitamin D, especially in the wintertime. The Endocrine Society does recommend taking vitamin D if you're over 75, and especially in the wintertime. We're not outside. You need 20 minutes in the sunlight with your arms and legs exposed, and easily in the winter maybe just your face is exposed. So vitamin D, yes. Possibly calcium if you're just like, I can't take milk, I don't like milk. Dairy is going to be the main way of getting calcium. There's other ways, but not as well absorbed and really not as much in them. So again, a calcium supplement might be possible. And fiber. If you're not eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds and whole grains, you're probably not getting enough fiber. Caution with fiber supplements, they're mainly only soluble fiber. There's two types. There's insoluble and soluble fiber. Insoluble fiber, those bacteria that live in our gut, they love to eat that. That's their food. So we want to keep the bacteria in our gut healthy gut, healthy brain, healthy heart, healthy bones, all stem from that healthy gut. So fiber is crucial. So the supplement's fine, but you really want to be trying to get a variety of fiber that's coming from your fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, those type. So basically that's it. I know it's a lot, and if you like to, check on your particular supplement you're already on, again, go to that PDF at the end. And then next month, we're going to be in January, and we're going to be talking about how to get back on track after the holidays. So I hope you all have a good holiday, and I'll see you back here next month. Bye now.